We're alive. Alive and kicking. How do you know that you're alive? What makes us alive? As one chassid said, are we only alive because the bus didn't hit us? In other words, are we just kind of alive just because we kind of woke up that way? Or are we alive because we're alive? Highly intentionally alive. Because we sense connection. We sense vibrancy. We live vibrant. That's a good question for all of us. Welcome to Tanya today. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine coming to you from Chabad in Montreal, Canada, where it's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. And today we share with a wonderful group. You all are amazing. Michael, guten Tag in Germany. June, good night in Australia. We have Mitsu Tull is back with us in Oslo, Norway, from Germany, but in Oslo. Brett in Pennsylvania. Boker Tov. Rabbi is joining us in Morocco. Good afternoon. John, shalom to you in North Carolina. Terrence, TJ, all the way in Melbourne, Australia. Going to sleep with some holy words. Andrea in Phoenix, welcome. Tim, Boker Tov to you in Texas. Mr. Tool is in the UK. Okay. Elise is in Georgia joining us. Diane in Arizona. Good morning. Simcha is in Florida with us. Rachamim in Houston, Texas. Rusty in Olsa's in Texas. Clem in Brisbane. Fabulous to have you. Sandy, good morning in Michigan. Louise is joining us also in Australia, in Sydney. Yeah, Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane. Oh. Denise in New Jersey, welcome. Leah in Florida, Boker Tov. Yochanan is joining us in California. Daphne is having a good morning in South Carolina. Amy in Denver. Welcome back, Amy. Carlos is in Brazil joining us. Julia in Pennsylvania, welcome aboard. I'm missing somebody here. David in Sacramento, California. Amy in, name and mention in Denver. Again. We've got Vilma, Celeste, we've got Michael, Jay, we've got Instagrammers with us, Akoy in Lima, Peru. We have Natalie, Alice in, excuse me. That's my spring allergies. Alice in Baltimore. We have Carmen. Amanda. Amanda in Montreal. Welcome. In Brazil is Natalie. Yocheved in Florida. Macheva is with us. Rachel in South Carolina. Beautiful. Beautiful. Okay. Love has many dimensions to it. Even metaphors, like fire, passionate love, like water, that's calm and natural. What's the distinction between them? When is one appropriate and not the other? Can you own your love? Is that possible? In conclusion of chapter 44, discussing the various types of love, there is something about a love that you own. How do you own your love? It's when you develop it using your mind, pondering, meditating. In this instance, about, as the Alter Rebbe explains, God and the greatness of God. And owning it means that it's something that you actually feeds your emotions, and gives you a sense of passion towards God, to do a mitzvah. What is the idea of passion? A fire, we call it. Well, the uniqueness about fire is that it flickers. It is, a strong flash, then can come back. Metaphorically, that fire, we can understand that in human relations between a husband and wife, that there is a passion. Why is there a passion? Because there's an on and an off in the relationship. That's reflected in the concept of mikvah. The mikvah, there's times that you are on in intimacy and times that you're off. The off time creates a distance, physical distance at least, not a spiritual distance, hopefully, but a physical distance, in order to allow that gap should be brought back together. So it's in and out. In the relationship of being on and off, that creates the separation, the gap, and therefore the desire to come back, which is the idea of passion. That's a fire. In the relationship with God, it's important to have this notion or this form of love where we sense a distance from God, and being through the awareness that we have, through the mind that we understand God's greatness, how great He is and how far I am from Him. Why? Because then I want to bridge the gap. I want to come close. And of course, coming close will be through the mitzvah that I do, the Torah study that I engage in, that will be done with a passion to bridge the gap, to come closer. That kind of love is something we own, because it's something we fully develop through our awareness, through our pondering, through our meditation about our relationship with God, and brings us, hence, that fiery love that's an intense flame that we want to quench the thirst that we have because of the gap that is created, because of our understanding of how God is so beyond, to allow us to come close. And in a sense, this kind of passionate love is even greater than the love that's natural, that metaphorically is like water. Water is, in the pond, is sitting there very calmly, not like the fire, very calm. What does it mean, a natural love? Well, let's take metaphorically, a child with a parent. It's a natural love, meaning it's there. Between siblings, it's just there. Why is it there? Because they have a common connection. The parent gave birth to the child or children, and therefore they have a commonality, something that's sort of an equalizer between them. And they're their family. And as a result, it's inherent. It's just there. Which is, of course, would be inappropriate to have a passionate love for one's parents or a passionate love for one's sibling. Totally inappropriate. That's only appropriate a husband and wife relationship. But when it comes to God, we have both types of relationship. One of passion and one that's inherently there. As the love that God is my very soul, my very life, and as God is my father and I'm his child. That's an inherent relationship. Again, metaphorically like water. It's a calming one to know that, yeah, God is my very life. He is my father. There is that connection, inherent connection. It will never go away. It's always there. So in our relationship with God, we need both. Now you might say, well, if I have the inherent relationship, why do I need the passionate one? In a sense, I've answered it already. Because the inherent one allows us to have the stability, the groundedness, the assurity that inherently we're connected. But why are we connected? Because God gave me life. He gave me the soul, a part of him. He is my father. I'm a child to him. That's an inherent connection that God gave. I can't own that. That's an inheritance that's inherently a part of me. But what can I own? What can I make personal that it's mine, that I have sort of created? Is that when I have an awareness in my mind, because I ponder, I meditate upon my relationship with God, upon God's greatness beyond my relationship, and recognize how beyond God is, how distant I am, and therefore that creates that passion, that fiery flame of love that you want to overcome the gap. Of course, by doing a mitzvah, by studying Torah. That's something I own. And as the Alter Rebbe concludes, he says that this is similar to the superiority and the excellence of gold over silver. That will be explained later in chapter 50. But it's not just that gold has ounce for ounce more value than silver, but there's also something distinctive about gold in its gleam that's highly attractive. And so in that regard, it is greater than the inherent love, the avaraba, the gifted love that we have that's part of our very being, part of our divine soul, or is divine soul. And aside from the fact that this is the whole purpose of man, is that one may know the glory of God, the majestic splendor, his greatness, each person according to what they're capable. And as the Zohar tells us, in order that we may know him. And that's why we were created, that we should know him. That I should know him. In other words, not that I should appreciate the inherent bond and connection that I have with God. Of course, that's important. But there is something invaluable of that I know him, and I know him means that I take the initiative to ponder, to meditate upon. Not only my relationship with God, but God himself. How he is the creator, how he fills the world, how he encompasses the world. And that is the knowledge of God, which is then by me owning that, I bring that to my heart, and that creates a passionate, or we have the potential to create a passionate desire to connect to God. Powerful stuff. Extremely powerful. Any questions? Any comments? Any thoughts? All right. TRC today at 4:30. There's so many of you that come here on a daily basis and are not taking advantage of something that can truly be not merely an inspiration. What we do on a daily basis over here is, Baruch Hashem, wonderful. But the difficulty with it, it's inspirational. It's top down. It's me speaking to you. Tanya teachings, of course, but it's not from within. TRC allows everything we learn here, that it becomes integrated and a part of us. So rather than just being inspired, because inspiration is 1%, perspiration is what's needed is 99%. It allows us to own it. Exactly what we spoke about today. So, yeah. Elise, she's a part of TRC. Celeste, Chava, yes. Thank you. Okay. John has a question. Is worldly love more geared toward the Beinoni? Well, in a sense, yes, because the Beinoni, who has mastery over thought, speech, and action, is constantly engaged in divine service, and therefore using the mind to try to see how the world is really connected and part of God, and to appreciate God's presence within the world and beyond. That is definitely something, geared for the Beinoni. Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you, John. All right. Guess what's next, folks? Rambam. We're starting chapter 1. Yesod Talmud Chachmas, the foundation of all foundations and the pillar of all wisdom. We're going to learn now, start in a few minutes, and invite you all to come on Zoom 770-770-6085, and let's start with Rambam now. Maimonides' teachings. It's very different than what we learn over here, but it's very important and will complement everything we're doing here. To see it from a Talmudic perspective as opposed to a mystical perspective. Yeah, so again, if anybody for TRC is considering and has any more desire to talk about or to understand more, private message me and we shall help. I'm Rabbi Ronnie Fine, coming to you from Chabad Zurich and Kadesh in Montreal, Canada. It's a privilege and a pleasure to share with you the Tanya. Have an amazing, great day. Thank you.